coach. Obviously, John Holcomb switched numbers last week. Maybe an indicator that you're planning on using him on offense. How is he coming along? And is he still somebody who could help out at some point this season?
Well, he could, and he may have to. It just remains to be seen. And that's absolutely correct. I mean, that was the purpose of the number change, so we'd have the same number on the field. Yeah. And he's doing well. He's doing well.
You look back to where Justin Hughes was in the spring and the summer, pretty far down the depth chart, to see what he's doing now. I guess just what most impresses you about what he's been able to do this season at linebacker.
Well, I think Justin, and he was, down a ways, and injury, put him in a position to have a chance to compete. And I think he's always been a capable player. I think his approach to the game and his approach to all the surroundings and all that goes on in the game of collegiate football, I think have become more important to him. I think he's made the effort to be the kind of player that's important to have in the program in a variety of different ways other than just the physical capabilities. I think he's grown as a man. A lot of progress in some of the side areas, and it's benefited him on the football field immensely.
Coach, I'm not sure how familiar you are with Dakota Allen, Texas Tech linebacker's backstory. With he was at Texas Tech, removed, junior college, and then came back. What do you think it says about his work ethic, his determination? I guess that, given everything he's been through in his career, he's been able to work his way back into good graces at Texas Tech and be such a substantial part of this improved defense.
Well, I know he is a very, very talented player. I don't know all. I mean, I know some of the story. I don't know all the story, and would be remiss to make comments that might not be accurate. But from what I know, what I've heard, and what I've seen in terms of his performance level, I think he's, what you just indicated, about his work habits and his determination and spirit to compete through all the difficult times would tell me that he's probably all of that. Has been a young guy that just determined to make it and consequently did.
How much improved have you seen this Texas Tech defense get this season, just from the last few years progressively getting better?
Well, I mean, I think that's what everyone seems to refer to, and I don't think anybody's inaccurate in that respect. I think they are a better, they're a better football team, better defensive football team. I think that has had as much of an impact on their growth collectively as a team and the program as anything. That, and they've done quite well in terms of improvement in special teams as well. It doesn't mean that they're not making headway in the offense. I mean, they lead everybody in everything in regards to offense. But I concur with what you're saying. They have become a much better defensive football team in a lot of different ways.
Is Skyler at a point where you think he might be available this week at quarterback?
Possibility.
And when you go back and look at the last couple of games on offense, what's been lacking in terms of big plays, and what maybe can the offense do a little bit better to reel off some long games?
Well, it's easy to say, throw the ball downfield, a little bit more, but, and that could be an answer if we would throw the ball downfield effectively. That's most important. Incomplete passes don't create big plays for you. I think we have to do a better job at at our blocking consistency at second and third levels, meaning off the line of scrimmage and downfield. I think that would help us a great deal. Yeah, those are probably as much as anything.
I apologize. I probably asked this question 100 different times over the last few weeks, but with the redshirt rule, you have a couple guys like Knowles and Robinson who I think are at 4 games, a couple more at 2 or 3. I guess, how do you manage that? Do you have a chart that tells you where everybody's at and what you want to do, or you're just playing the guys who are most healthy and ready to help?
Well, I mean, we're well aware of, where they stand in regards to, the new redshirt rule, and if we didn't have that rule, there'd be some other rule that we'd have to be very understanding of. I mean, your question probably is, would we play those guys beyond the fourth ball game? And if it's of necessity, then we probably would, yes.
How did Lance Robinson play after you looked at the film?
Played well. I was pleased with what he did. Yeah, I mean, not without his mistakes, but overall, I thought he played well, played aggressively. Made some tackles, probably tackled better than might have been anticipated for not getting on the field very much.
You have faced high-powered offenses before, but this year's different as you have struggled to score more than in previous years. What becomes the key Saturday to end up on the winning side when you face a team like Texas Tech that can put up a lot of yards and a lot of points?
Well, they can do all those things, and only one team has held them below, I don't know, whatever it is, 40 points or so. And I think, obviously the important things offensively, we've got to be able to, have some possession time. You take this last ball game, I think we were far below our average in regards to possession time. Part of that was because of KU, part of it was because of us. The capacity to defend well against big plays. Texas Tech has been pretty good about that, but what Texas Tech is really very proficient at that people don't see quite as readily is the fact that they're really pretty good with the short passing game and a substantial running game that allows them to maintain possession of the ball, move the ball, and gain clock time on their own. That they haven't always been a team like that, but the onset of a more effective running game has helped them do exactly that. So we've got to make sure that we can not give up those extended drives, that we can get a few 3 and outs, and consequently offensively we can hang on to the football a little bit longer. Eat up some clock, and as was mentioned a moment ago, get a few of those big plays. But a lot of things go into it, which goes into every ball game in terms of not getting penalized. We had 7 penalties this last ball game, so that was didn't work out in our favor, and not turning the ball over. That's obvious that can't afford to do that. So number of things.
This is a 16-member senior class that 4 years ago endured a 6-7 season, and right now is 4-6 this year. What can you say about this group and its dedication to remain with the program and continue to fight even when times might be tough?
Well, I have a great appreciation for all young people in our program, and for those who sustain their period of time here. Even obviously a greater appreciation. I think there are young guys, not an awful lot of starters in that group, but young guys that have been very persistent, young guys that have fortitude and a commitment to not just the program but to their teammates, which I greatly appreciate that as well. And their teammates care a lot about them as well. But a lot of good young people.
Has this been a difficult year, would you term, for the senior class?
Well, I think it's been a difficult year for everyone. It's probably, at the end of the day, it's maybe there's maybe the sensitivity to the season is a little greater with seniors because it is their last year. The obvious, I guess.
Can you please speak on Wesley, their 6'5", 200-pound wide receiver at Texas Tech?
Well, he's he's a fine player. I mean, what they bring to the table, I think, as much as anything, other than being talented young guys, is the range that they have and the ability to go up in the air and and compete for those, up in the air throws, and they get an awful lot of those, and it's they're tough to defend against, unless you got 6'5" guys back there that can run extremely well, and there aren't too many of those around.
Coach, is this as balanced of a Texas Tech as a team as you've played?
Yeah, are they what?
Are they as balanced as a team that you
I think that's a good statement. Yes, I certainly think so. As I said, I mean, they've made the very recognizable improvement over time, and with their defense, they've enhanced their running game and brought their special teams along. And so, yeah, the answer is yes. Very balanced.
Was there one area that you felt you could pinpoint on preventing you from getting off the field on Saturday against KU?
There's a number of things. Certain things they did that I wouldn't, broadcast in here, but that created some issues for us. Not necessarily schematic things, but just the choices that they made to do certain things that created some problems and allowed, the sticks to move. I mean, not necessarily. I'm not talking about extended plays, but things that allowed them to get to 4 and 5 yards, and sustained drives. They had the one drive, which was whatever it was, 9 minutes, I think, in the first half. They went, I don't know, 9+ minutes, on the one drive, 18 plays, I think. They only got a field goal out of it, but by the same token, that certainly ate up an awful lot of time. And you go back and you look, and there's maybe there's a 9-yard gain in there, and the rest of it's pretty minimal.
Do you feel like your tackling has made progress, especially on the open field areas?
I thought, we still missed some tackles while open field or in more compact environment, but I thought we did improve. The young guy from, although he didn't play, as much as I thought that he perhaps would, but he's a very elusive young guy, and he makes anybody have second thoughts about how they're going to tackle him, and I thought we tackled him very well for the most part.
Cliff Kingsbury's had a pretty set offensive scheme at Texas Tech, and this year with injuries at quarterback, he's gone to Jet Duffy, who's more of a running quarterback than they have typically shown. How does that impact your preparations, and what's that say about this Texas Tech team to be able to kind of adjust on the fly here, particularly offensive linemen, to a little bit more quarterback run game than they've had in the past?
Well, Cliff's a bright young coach, and has a tremendous offensive mind, and I think his, I haven't seen his playbook, but I think if you looked at his playbook, you'd probably find anything and everything that there is in the game of football in terms of an offensive approach, and it's utilizing the personnel that you have. They try to recruit to, the passing game. At least I think that's the case, a great deal. But with the other quarterback backup, if he is the guy to go, I don't know for sure that he will be, but if he is, he does bring the capacity to, as you indicate, run the ball more. Some of it's quarterback run game, some of it's just scrambles. And not that the other one hadn't done that, but he had negative yardage as far as the run game was concerned. He gained some yards, but sacks enter into that considerably. But this young guy can, he can throw the ball too. There's a couple of just in their last ball game against University of Texas. He airs one out, and it's 55 yards down the field, and if it's an inch left, inch right, or an inch forward or backwards, then complete pass, and he drops it in there. And so he's got some ability to throw the ball as well.
Coach, after looking through the film, how much of a difference did just the threat of the quarterback run game make in the second half for your offense?
Well, it always makes a difference, I think, because that's a part of our offense. It's always been a major part of our offense, and it's something that, is just like the question that was asked about Texas Tech, what degree of difficulty does it create now that they have the balance of having a a quarterback who can run the football. Well, I mean, the same is true for us. That's always why we've had the quarterback run game, is to create greater balance. So it's not just turn around and hand it to Alex Barnes. You know, you got a lot of different ways that you can hopefully advance the ball with a variety of different people, and utilizing, you know, because basically an offense that doesn't is playing with 10 guys on offense, and that, last I heard, you get 11 on the other side. So, you know, you can block all of them, they still got a free guy to make the tackle. So it cuts the numbers down to a certain degree anyway, helps you a little bit.
You talked about the red shirts earlier, but with the new rules plus the graduate transfer rules and everything, does your approach changed as far as red shirting? I know you used to always say getting a player in the 5th year rather than the 1st year, but now there are different things that complicate that. Does that change your approach at all?
Not really, and I say that because you know, I still believe that a youngster is far better in his 5th year of eligibility, and I say it for 2 reasons. Number one, that and it's really is based on what's best for a young guy. Well, and number one, he becomes a better player then. Number two, you know, it gives him, you know, you see an awful lot of young people that, you know, get away from college without graduation, and gives them an opportunity to definitely graduate, and while they're still on scholarship, initiate work towards a master's degree or a second major, whatever the case may be. You know, and that's certainly, you know, I think a major benefit for them. You know, as far as the senior transfer rule, I realize that's, you know, maybe our thoughts are contrary to protecting yourself in that way, but you know, by the same token, it's, you know, if a young guy's unhappy and that you're not the right place for him, then he's probably not going to do due diligence to your program anyway, and probably is better off being someplace else.
Coach, I understand that players would not be available to speak to us today, and in that case, would you be able to comment on how badly they want to win this game?
I honestly believe they, you know, whatever the nth degree of badly is, I think they, you know, I don't think there's a game they don't diligently want to win. You know, I have a high degree of confidence that that's their feeling.
We saw quite a few personnel changes on special teams last week. I know things didn't go perfectly there. Do you think you could make even more personnel changes this week, or do you just let those guys kind of grow into the new role?
Well, we're in a situation where they kind of have to grow in the situation because we're down. We don't, I mean, you've seen our injury, well, you haven't either, but our injury chart is, you know, somewhat significant, and 2 pages for the first time. But, you know, it's just guys that fit the capabilities that exist. We're running very, very thin on it. So we really, you know, there's not going to be, there can't be, you know, a great deal of change in regards to, you know, who we have out there on special teams. You know, there'll be a couple of changes, but not very many at all.
Given how unpredictable the results have been in that area, does it make you coach differently on, say, 4th and short, or where normally you would automatically kick or do a thing one way? Do you have to think on 4th down, well, maybe we should do something else?
Well, truly have to, yes, you do have to think. But that, I mean, that's always been the case, but you know, some of it depends on, you know, what you feel your offense is capable of doing at that particular point in time, and some of it's predicated on, you know, the special teams. But, you know, from in that environment, I mean, basically you've isolated it to our offense being on the field, and, you know, whether we're in the, you know, 35-yard line, 40-yard line, something like that, do we punt or do we not? and go for it. As I said, first and foremost is going to be, you know, is there a strong feeling that we can make it? I don't have any hesitation about punting the ball because, as you've noticed, we've done very well with our quote-unquote pooch punting and downing the ball. We downed one, on the 1 yard line, I think, the other day, and the week before we downed one inside the 5. You know, that's a pretty good field position for you. As it relates to the field goal situation, as you saw, we just don't have the capabilities right now of doing that consistently from the range that we had when Lynch was out there. So that affects it as well, yes.